I'm Brad Humphrey, and this is another Learning While Listening podcast. So you're going to start a new company? Why? Okay, seriously, starting any new business is taking a huge risk. I mean, I love new business startups. I love the entrepreneur spirit and those owners who start them. But man, over the years, I've supported a lot of new companies, a lot of new startups. But I also realize that starting any business is often begun on some less than ideal facts. After conducting many educational sessions at a number of construction industries conferences around the country, I've been amazed how many new startup owners were attending. I mean, many of them were searching for answers to strengthen their leadership, their firm sales, and their profitability, and the proverbial search for the holy grail of workers. Let me share a few insights that I've shared with these many young workers and young owners as they've tried to start their businesses. First, prepare for the worst, but plan for the best. It's old advice that fits more contractors today than maybe ever. I have found 3 keys to success missing from many new startups. To me, the most obvious one is just they're undercapitalized. Honestly, the owner just simply doesn't have enough money to keep their dreams afloat till they obtain enough work to cash flow. A second reason that I found is there's no business plan. I mean, even the older seasoned guy or gal who has worked in the industry for years and then breaks off on their own after maybe 15 or 20 years working for somebody else, they need a business plan. Just because they've been in the industry doesn't mean they don't need a business plan. You just can't run a successful contracting business for very long without one. And then probably the third primary reason I have found is that there's a focus on sales over quality. I mean, I hate to state the obvious, but you can sell all the work you want. But if you have no workers who can complete great work the right way the first time, you really have nothing but problems coming your way. Now, obviously, there are many things that can throw a wrench into the dreams and the hard work of any new contractor, but my goal isn't to write a book on such things. Well, at least not yet it is. But let me share some wisdom from many of the best startup contractors I've had the privilege to either work with, listen to, or even read about. Here's the new contractors, what I call the starting 5. Here's the startup starting 5. 1, ensure you have capital to carry you for at least 2 to 3 years. 2, develop a business plan that reflects growth objectives for markets served and expansion steps for adding employees, equipment, trucks, vehicles, that type of thing. 3, have a marketing plan. 4, hire wise and solid players. And number 5, set weekly, monthly, and quarterly goals. Okay, again, there's at least another 100 things that need to be done by the new owner, but this list of 5 will certainly get you going and heading in the right direction. Let me expand on each point, though, with some greater clarity. The first one, ensure you have capital to carry you for at least 2 to 3 years. Either flush out your retirement money, borrow from relatives, or line up some credit with the banker and be willing to mortgage your life. But shoot to have 2 to 3 years in available money to pay wages, rent equipment, buy materials, that type of thing. To say money is the root of all problems would be stating the obvious. But more likely, it's the shortage of money is the problem for most startups. More businesses and marriage relationships, for that matter, can be brought to a very unpleasant ending if the needed capital is not secured. To believe that your first year will produce an incredible ROI is just simply mistaken, grossly mistaken. Hey, if you do, that's great, but you need to create a budget and consider what your financial needs are projected to be. Sure, cut to the bone initially, but realize you will need to pay employees, your family needs to eat, and banks will take your home or equipment in most cases if you fail to make your payments. Number 2, develop a business plan that reflects growth objectives for markets served and expansion steps for adding employees and equipment and other types of things like that. Hey, a business plan is not that difficult to build, but I will tell you it's more often missing from most new contractors that I've worked with than any of the other items we're going to talk about today. The business plan needs to clearly identify First, where are we going as a company? What markets are we to pursue? At what levels of growth will we add workers and equipment? And will we leverage production by subcontracting sold work to other contractors? Hey, a business plan is really a roadmap of sorts, sometimes needing to be adjusted and edited, but still providing some really well thought out strategies on how to best attack your future. So have one. Related to that is our third point. Have a marketing plan. Hey, a great companion plan for that new startup and business plan is the marketing plan. Combined with a business plan, and the contractor has really the two key weapons to address the future. The marketing plan should address more clearly what business that the company is in, what markets they will be serving, what strategies will best gain greater recognition, reputation, and branding, what geographical area do they want to go into, what specific line of services we're going to provide. I always encourage contractors, especially startups, to determine how they will be selling their wares, their products, and their services. Certainly the entire electronic toolbox opens the door to outlets to spread the news of our company through emails and websites and Facebook and LinkedIn, that type of thing. But clearly you should have something documented that you can review over and over in the first couple of years to make sure you're solidly on the pathway to growth. 4, hire wise and solid players. Here we have perhaps the toughest of all the 5 recommendations to overcome. Hiring wise and solid workers anytime can be quite honestly, a huge effort. But with our current transition in the generations, the lack of mechanical-minded education in more and more communities amongst the up-and-coming workforce, well, it's just pretty daunting how few we're seeing. But you got to work hard to find good, capable, attitude people with the potential to be a part of your workforce and training them. Over the years, I've actually written and spoken about this, about how to find them and hire them and retain them. So I'll be brief here. In fact, I would refer you to an ebook that I wrote last year on the 7 steps of employee retention. But the best thing any new owner can do to find and hire wise and solid players is to first create a clear description as to what is needed in the company, specifically related to what is expected in the job that you're looking for, including the roles that might be fulfilled and, more importantly, the responsibilities that will be completed. Hey, to strengthen this 4th recommendation, it's critical for even new owners to prepare to make on-the-job training and education a major part of their weekly efforts. Unless you can hire seasoned and proven craftsmen, prepare to spend a lot of time teaching and keeping workers a little late some afternoons to train on a needed technique or how to use a particular tool or piece of equipment. Even consider hiring technical consultants, for crying out loud, even retired workers to assist you in this training. Such an effort early is going to help provide you greater returns later. I can promise you that. And then the 5th item, set weekly, monthly, and quarterly goals. Now, this final recommendation is key because it sustains a new contractor to keep his or her vision focused on what is attainable in shorter segments of time. Sure, you need the business and the marketing plans, but it's just as important from those plans to have short-term objectives that can be measured and managed on a regular basis. Keep the goals clear and important to the upcoming week, the month, the quarter, and review those results on a regular basis. Make such reviews part of your weekly meetings with whoever you have working with you and for you. Starting up your company, well, come on, it's hard work. And if you're listening to this and you are still in the process of building your business, you know the hours that go into it. But if you do it, have more than just some dream and some emotional hunger. Both are those that will die out if that's all you have. However, if you're starting a new construction company, then determine to be methodical, persistent, and never say quit. Living the life of a successful contractor is really only achieved via the extremely hard work known by those who have paid the price early. Don't ever be fooled by the toys and the properties and the houses and those type of things that you see other successful contractors having or purchasing. Don't think it's easy. Those folks, without anyone else knowing his work, they put in a great price, many times at a great sacrifice. Work to be the best that you can be. Stay away from comparing your success against other contractors. Seek what's best for you and your family and your company, and enjoy all of the learning experiences you're going to have along the way. Because trust me, one day you will look back and say, those were the good old days. Let them form and mold you to be the best that you can be. Hey, here's to building your best. Again, this is Brad Humphrey. I hope you've enjoyed this Learning While Listening podcast.